For 18 years, Alyssa wondered about her real parents, hoping to find answers but uncovering only more confusion. Though the reunion seemed promising, key details did not add up, and the man she had been searching for withheld part of the truth. As questions mounted, her search became entangled with the tragic case. Welcome to another episode of It Sounds Crazy, but It's True, the channel where we retell some of the craziest stories, crimes, mysteries, and unbelievable events in a cinematic storytelling format with original narration, commentary, and recreated visuals. Certain scenes and details have been dramatized for storytelling purposes. If that's what you enjoy, then you're in the right place. The year was 1995. The internet was still a strange new world back then. Bulky computers hummed in dark bedrooms, dial-up tones screamed through phone lines, and teenagers disappeared for hours into anonymous chat rooms where nobody really knew who was on the other side of the screen. One night, a 15-year-old girl named Alyssa logged online and began talking to a man named Steven. Now, Steven was 20 years old. At first, it felt exciting, a little rebellious. The kind of secret conversation that made a teenager feel older than they really were. Night after night, they talked for hours. Steven listened to her problems, made her laugh, told her she was special. He became the person she ran to emotionally before she even realized it was happening. And slowly, the line between intention and control disappeared. It wasn't too long before Steven decided to travel to Texas. And not long after that, Alyssa left home with him. Now, to her family, it looked like a teenage girl running away in the middle of the night with an older man she met online. But to Alyssa, it probably felt like love, like freedom, like someone finally understood her. But she was still a child. Within a year, she was pregnant. In January of 1998, Alyssa gave birth to a baby girl. They named her Denise. For a brief moment, maybe there was hope that things would somehow settle into a normal life. A small apartment, a young family trying to survive, but the cracks appeared quickly. Steven's temper grew worse. The relationship became unstable, tense, and frightening. Alyssa started realizing the man that she ran away with was not the man she thought she knew through a computer screen. Every day became heavier than the last. And eventually, Alyssa made a decision that would haunt her for the rest of her life. She gave the baby up for adoption. Now, somewhere in New York, a couple named Anthony and Kelly welcomed the little baby girl into their home. They renamed her Katie, held her in their arms, and raised her as their own daughter. And for nearly 2 decades, that chapter stayed buried. Now, Katie grew up living mostly an ordinary life. School pictures, family vacations, birthday parties. She was creative, quiet, thoughtful, the kind of person who made people feel comfortable around her. But even in happy homes, questions can live quietly in the background. Who were her biological parents? Why did they give her away? Did they ever think about her? By 2016, Katie was 18 years old, standing at the edge of adulthood with those questions still following her everywhere. So she decided to search for answers. Facebook made that easy. A few clicks here, a few clicks there, and suddenly the people who once disappeared from her life were no longer strangers. Steven and Alyssa answered quickly. Now for Alyssa, the message felt almost unreal. After 18 years, the daughter she once held as a baby wanted to meet her, talk to her, know her. But for Steven, it awakened something darker. In August of 2016, Katie met her biological parents for the first time. The reunion looked warm from the outside. Smiles, hugs, photographs, a daughter reconnecting with the family she never knew. But inside the house, things were already falling apart. Steven and Alyssa's marriage was collapsing. The tension between them had become unbearable, and they were barely functioning as a couple anymore. They spoke less and less, and the house just felt very heavy. Then, Katie moved in. At first, it seemed temporary, a chance to bond with her biological family before starting her own life. But almost immediately, Steven changed. He became fixated on Katie. He lingered around her constantly, followed her from room to room, found excuses to be near her, and the attention stopped feeling fatherly and started feeling obsessive. Alyssa noticed it first. Steven began dressing differently, acting younger, trying to impress Katie in subtle ways that made Alyssa really uncomfortable. Then, one night, she discovered something she could barely process. Steven was sleeping on the floor in Katie's bedroom. And when Alyssa confronted him, he exploded with rage. The argument shattered whatever remained of the family. Soon after, Steven left the house, and Katie went with him. And somewhere in the middle of all of that chaos, the relationship crossed a line that should never have been crossed. Katie had spent her entire life wondering who her biological father was. Now the man standing in front of her wasn't acting like a father at all. He acted possessive, intense, romantic. She was barely an adult. He was the man who had known her since birth. And that relationship spiraled fast. By 2017, Katie was now pregnant. And Steven was the father/grandfather. The headlines that followed shocked the country. A father and daughter had entered into a relationship after reconnecting years later. People stared at the story in disbelief, trying to understand how something so horrifying could happen in real life. But inside the relationship, things were becoming increasingly unstable. Katie and Steven moved to North Carolina and tried to build a life together while hiding the truth about who they really were. Eventually, authorities intervened and the court ordered them not to contact each other. For the first time in a long time, there was a distance between them. And maybe for Katie, there was finally a chance to think clearly. Their baby boy Bennett was only 7 months old when everything collapsed. In April of 2018, Katie made a decision. She wanted out. Maybe she realized how deeply trapped she had become. Maybe the weight of everything finally hit her all at once. Whatever the reason, she told Steven the relationship was over. And Steven snapped. The next hours unfolded like something from a nightmare. Steven took the baby to the house and unfortunately ended the life of Bennett. After taking his own son's life, Steven decided he was going to drive to Connecticut to meet Katie. For hours he traveled the highway, consumed by rage and obsession, chasing the one person he refused to let go of. Katie was riding in a truck with her adoptive father, Anthony, the man who had spent 20 years loving and protecting her like his own daughter. They had no idea Steven was following them. The truck slowed at an intersection, and Steven pulled beside them carrying an AR-15 rifle, and in seconds, gunfire shattered their morning. Steven drove away from the scene and called his mother. His voice was calm. He told her he had killed Katie, the baby, and her adoptive father. Hours later, police found Steven dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And just like that, the entire story ended in bloodshed across 3 states. A teenage girl who once logged into a chat room looking for connection. A daughter who spent years searching for her identity. A father who became something monstrous. A baby who never had a chance to grow up. And an adoptive parent who died trying to stand beside the daughter he loved. What makes this tragedy so disturbing is how ordinary it began. A conversation online, a reunion, a family trying to reconnect. Nothing about it looked dangerous at first, but underneath it all was manipulation, obsession, control, and a cycle that had started decades earlier and never truly ended. And somewhere in the middle of that story was Katie, a young woman searching for where she came from, only to discover that the answer would destroy her life. Thank you for watching today's episode of It Sounds Crazy, but It's True. If you enjoyed this video and would like to support this channel, like and subscribe. And if there's a story you would like me to cover, comment down below. That's going to do it for this one. And until next time, stay humble, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.